Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. Welcome to Grown Girl Talk, Episode 3 of Season 1. I'm so happy, and things are just moving along. So I am waiting for my guest, but I didn't want to not go live on time. She was having some technical difficulties, and so she'll be on in just a little bit. And so I'll just give it a few moments for people to come into the room. Like with lives, it's always kind of interesting because it's like if nobody's in the room, and then if my guest isn't on, then it's kind of like I'm talking to myself. And that's kind of like why I stopped doing YouTube, really, because it always felt like I was talking to myself. But anyway, good morning. Welcome. You guys are in for a treat once my guest arrives. She is beautiful, talented, a mom, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. And I'm going to read her bio once she arrives. But I just wanted to come on and get started before she got here because I didn't want to be late. So thank you all for coming on in the room. I appreciate y'all. It's such an honor to have an opportunity to speak to an audience. And so that's always super exciting. Let's see, we're just going to wait a few more minutes and see what we can come up with because I am waiting for my guests to arrive. So this is going to be a very interesting conversation because we're going to talk about fashion and finance, which we know so many people are interested in, not just women, but men also. So if you feel like this is going to be a conversation worth sharing, please don't hesitate to share this broadcast, not just for people who are watching live now, who didn't set a reminder that Stacey J was going to be on Grown Girl Talk Saturday at 11, but for those who may come on a little bit later. And so it's going to be an awesome conversation. For those who are going to come on a little bit later, you can watch it. So like I always say, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is that you are watching this broadcast, hello to you. So again, I'm just giving my guest a few minutes to come on because she was having some technical difficulties, but I didn't want to not go live on time. And that's the trouble with lives. When something happens, you start rambling and repeating yourself. And that's really what I'm doing right now, but it's all good. So I will take this opportunity to remind everybody that I am in the process of planning a women's total wellness workshop and networking brunch. Tickets are going to go on sale March 14th. And so if you haven't already done so, go to my website, staceycreated.com, and subscribe to my email list because I'm going to be forwarding all of my subscribers a discount code. The discount code is only going to be valid for the first 72 hours. So from March 14th to March 16th, you'll have an opportunity to take advantage of a discount if you subscribe to my email list on my website, staceycreated.com. And so just to give you all a little bit of what you can expect at the networking workshop and brunch, it's going to be phenomenal. This is going to be a transformational experience that you definitely don't want to forget, that you definitely don't want to not participate in. You won't forget it. It's going to be amazing. And so it's called Pins and Purpose because we have some work to do. And that's why the workshop piece comes into play. We're going to be taking a lot of notes, doing some lot of introspection, looking into ourselves and figuring out how we can be better. It's always ways to improve. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. And so when I talk about total wellness, a women's total wellness workshop and networking brunch. Total wellness for me includes mind, body, spirit, and finances and relationships. So, we're going to have a panelist of beautiful, intelligent, experienced women who are excited and eager to share their knowledge and their experiences. We're going to talk about how we can grow spiritually. We're going to talk about how we can improve physically and financially. And we're going to talk about how we can improve relationally as well in our relationships. What can we do to change and grow and improve in our relationships? And lastly, we're going to talk about how to improve and cover your mind. We understand that in our community, the Black community, that mental health hasn't always been accepted, advocated for, or talked about. But the recent years, I want to say the last 5, 10, 15 years or so, we are really starting to see things change. And really maybe within the last 2 years to really see things change, with the onset of COVID-19, the pandemic, and everything getting shut down, people being isolated from one another, being stuck in the house, stuck with their own thoughts, stuck with this and stuck with that, stuck with unwanted relationships or relationships that needed improvement. And you just start to really see yourself. And so, hey, okay, so I'm going to stop talking because my guest is coming in the room. And so, hey, Ashley. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm doing well. I do apologize for being
Okay.
tardy.
That's okay. It happens, girl. It happens. Let me see if I can center myself a little bit better now.
Okay, you look
Um,
amazing.
you too. Oh my goodness. So y'all listen. This is really Ashley and I's first time actually seeing each other face to face and talking like this. We saw each other at a tea that she was a panelist on, and it was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. Her energy, her whole spirit was so exceptional. And it's so funny because when I walked into the room, like, people don't realize this, but I am an introvert. So it takes all
Wow.
of my energy to like do things like that and to do
Wow.
things like this. But here's the thing, that was the first time I had ever went to a networking anything.
Wow.
Yes. And so when I walked in the room and I was like, hey, everybody, where can we sit? And Ashley was just on it like she was the hostess, honey. She was like, well, I don't know where you can sit, but hey, girl, it was a girl over here who was helping. But I was like, I like her already. And I could just see that you were so genuine and authentic in who you are. Like, just your whole spirit. I was just like, okay, this is a girl who I need to connect with. Um, and you just were so willing to accept my invitation. And I just love how excited you are about life. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, look, I'm just rambling because I get so hyped when I meet beautiful, educated, you know, Black women who want to empower their sisters. And
Mm.
that's what this
Wow.
space is all about. Grown girl talk. Like I told you, it's a space for positivity, no shade being thrown. We just here to
Hello.
grow, learn, network, love on each other, lift each other up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get my little thing together. How about now? Look, because I really want y'all to see my shirt though.
Yeah,
Because
because it looks amazing. You look beautiful.
thank you.
I love it. That was one of the things that attracted me to you. I'm like, oh, her fashion is on
Oh,
point.
thank you. That is literally one of my first loves. Like, so I have a
Um,
degree in fashion merchandising, my undergrad degree, and then my master's is in business and industry training. So you and I have so much in common, you know.
yes.
So like your teaching background, my teaching background. So I'm just excited for you. I'm excited to connect with you, and so I'm gonna read your bio because it is excellent. Okay, and I want my
Wow.
viewers to know who you are. All right, so financial professional Ashley M. Barrett is a Renaissance woman, honey, on a mission to bring financial security and freedom to working families. Combining her two loves, she is the owner of Fashion and Finance. Her company teaches families how to make, save, and grow their own money while also reducing debt and planning for the future. On the fashion side, she is a personal shopper, stylist, and social media influencer. Born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia, Ashley was shaped by challenges in her life, including losing her father at a young age and becoming a mother at age 15. After a successful career in education, she decided to empower herself by starting her own business, using her obstacles as motivation. This is the crux of what I want us to learn. Using your obstacles as motivation, she has created a legacy of financial freedom, education, and entrepreneurship for her children. And so that's really what I loved about you, was that you were so transparent. Like, a lot of people feel like their past has so much shame connected to it, but it's like nobody has ever been perfect except Jesus Christ. He was the only one born perfect. So it's like I just appreciated your level of transparency, you know. Um and especially even a post you made that I'm not even sure if people picked up on it. You were out with mompreneurs
Yes.
and your nail was broke. And you were like, I could have brought that out, but I want people to understand that there's no such thing as perfection. Like, let's all stop trying to pretend and be perfect.
Mm.
Like, see, that's why I like her. Because we get on social media and we try to put on airs, and then people who look up to us or admire us in some way, they try to emulate those things in their relationships and this, that, and the third, when they really don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
That's
So
so
you
true.
are trying to aspire to be something that really doesn't even exist.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get into this, girl.
I
How are
love that.
you doing today?
I'm doing great. I thank you for, having me, inviting me onto this platform. I do not take it lightly, right? Because what I understand is that every time I get a chance to share in my story, but particularly get a chance to just meet fire bombs like yourself. I mean, you are definitely a fireball. One from the moment I saw you, even at the tea, I was like, oh, I'm loving the fashion, right?
Thank
I
you.
love it because it really just showed your uniqueness, right? A lot of times, well, we know this, but fashion is kind of like, stating who you are before even like really opening your mouth.
Yes.
And so I love that fashion allows us to bring our personality in. So if you're a pearl girl, you might have the studded pearls. If you love red, I call that fireball. I mean, the colors and things that we wear, people don't know it, but it really plays into, who we are as a person and what we want to portray, whether that is, I'm having a great day, I want to wear yellow, maybe I'm just in that mood. So, fashion really plays a lot into how we feel.
Yes. And
Plays a
listen,
lot.
yellow is one of my colors, honey. You
Really?
will see me on yellow a lot. I love it. And I never really even considered it being like a favorite color, but it really
Right.
is. It looks so good on me. And I'm just saying, I'm
It's
not like a
yes.
cocky person. But I mean, you got to know your strengths. Just like
Yes.
we are so tethered to our weaknesses, we should be that
Mhm.
connected to our strengths as well. So, yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I have some questions that I want to ask you. And so, with fashion and finance, describe your business and what you do.
Ooh, that's good. So my business, when it comes to fashion and finance, I really just want to break down how did I even combine the two, um,
Right.
because I think
That was my second question. So go ahead. Questions one and two, girl.
awesome. Well, listen, I'll go ahead and tackle it all then. So fashion and finance really just came a brand, right? Simply because I always have loved fashion. So I knew that I wanted to dabble within the fashion industry. I did at some point used to actually have like an expression tee line one summer because my background is teaching. So one summer I was off and I decided, hey, I just want to know what it's like to have my own, t-shirt line.
Mhm.
Of course, I kind of went asking a couple questions. You kind of get left on red. And so I had to really do my own research. to
Yeah.
really find out how to do it. And once I was able to do that, it really started to, I guess you could say, spark my interest on how do I become like, larger? How do I start, distributing? Like how does that really work? I don't want to always, be, how can I say, limiting my money to,
Yeah.
just one place. Like how do I really start to distribute? And when we really think about the basis of any business, it's always the finances.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for myself, I was not that big saver. I was definitely not money savvy about concepts. It was a lot that I did not know financially, which I knew at some point would hurt me, because there's a point in business where you really have to become better at handling your finances.
That's very true. Yeah.
And I had the mindset that, I could just handle my finances the same way I handle my personal. But in business, you really can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crucial, from, your business expenses to your write-offs to just being on top of growth, right? You really have to start paying attention to the numbers. And so when I realized, wow, like I'm really not financially literate,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe if I start there, it will help me in business. And so I stumbled into the financial industry. It's not, trust me, I was the spin girl. I was the let's go to brunch friend, let's go shopping friend. What is the new bag?
You the fun friend. You the fun friend. Like, oh, we'll figure it out later.
I'm literally the friend. Like, if you were to pick up this shirt, I'd be like, Stacey, literally, you only live once. Buy it now.
So we listen. That means we are too much alike, because I'm trying. I'm trying.
You got this. That was literally me. I was that person. And so when I started to realize, man, I'm selling these t-shirts, right? But what do I do with the money? Yes, I want to reinvest, but ultimately, how do I take the profits and really start to grow them?
Yeah.
And so it, of course, like I said, just sparked my interest. I ended up getting a phone call from a friend of mine who's a broker in the industry. And, she really didn't, even though we talked, she didn't really know what was transpiring in my life, meaning, where I was mentally, about entrepreneurship, about business. She just gave me a call, and we talked, and she said, well, Ashley, let me tell you, if you really was to look at the financial industry, you will be surprised what you can really learn and start to apply. And I'm like, wow, she's saying this right at the time where my mindset, was on, how do I become, larger, greater? Because realistically, I was a teacher. So I was teaching, and I knew at some point, honestly, Stacey, I knew I was having a calling outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
I was very aware that, I really was not going to be able to move up a lot in my position. And so I said, wow, I really need to start to grasp what is business, what is entrepreneurship, and just really started to study. So I stumbled into the financial industry, and started to really dive in and learn. I became a learn-it-all, right? I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And so when I sat down with my mentor, who actually helped me in business, my financial broker, she really coached me. She said, Ashley, I really want to coach you on just who you are as a person. I don't want people to look at you, just for being a one-trick pony. I want people to know that, you yourself, you're a brand, you're a walking, talking business. So I want to coach you on how to really be that brand. So I was like, okay. All right, wow, what do I do? She said, well, what is it that you love? I was like, I love fashion. She's like, great, fashion and finance, or finance and fashion. Either way you want to put it, become that brand. Let people know that, through your attire that, hey, you're bringing that fashion side, but through your talk, you're able to help them financially. And I was like, wow.
That's amazing. And that's why I think it's so important for us to connect with each other, because we can learn so much from each other. And real talk, y'all, I asked Ashley to stay on a little bit longer after this, because I need to talk about some life insurance and getting my whole situation together, because like you, like I want to make sure that I'm financially literate. And so if you could talk to us about the importance of being financially literate from a personal standpoint and a business standpoint.
Wow, that is awesome. This is definitely a great question. it is very important because, again, we have to remember that there is three types of education. And I explain this when I am sitting down with couples and when I'm sitting down with people who really want to get their finances in place or even get life insurance, right? I tell them we have to understand that there is still a level of learning and wealth knowledge that, we have access to tap into. We have to be mindful. Some of our ancestors didn't have the access. So now that we have access, right, to this knowledge, what are we going to do with it?
Right.
And so me taking upon myself saying, hey, before I go out and start really helping the masses, how do I put this mask on myself? Right? How do I start to implement the things that I'm being taught? And so I was really taught a financial concept called the Rule of 72, which allowed me to figure out, like how your money doubles. And as I started to really understand that concept, I started to look at the vehicles where I placed my money. I'm like, wow, now that I'm, exposed to this concept, I'm seeing that my money isn't doubling. I'm seeing that, I'm not really able to see the accumulation and the cash growing that I really want to see. I might dabble in and I'm that girl, I like to play in stocks and things. And, you might get that growth, but I still knew you had to pay taxes on that. And so I started to ask myself, okay, if I can be real with Ashley, there has to be another level of education. The education that the Paris Hiltons of the world, the Walton family, the Rockefellers, it has to be that level of education that you can start to tap into so that you can really see what it's like, right, to build wealth while we're here. And so it sparked the interest in me, Stacey.
That is, what I love about this stage in my life is that I'm so open, and I thank God because he's been waiting for me to get here. But wow. I thank him for his patience. But I'm so open to just learning, just being poured into. And so with that, it took a shifting of my mindset. And so what you just said is like light bulbs. I never even considered like how the educational piece that goes into financial literacy on that level of wealth when it comes to the Waltons. And if for y'all who don't know, those are the people who own Walmart. Like, with yes, we need to talk because that's the level that I want to be on.
Stacey, that is the mindset. That is honestly, that is the mindset.
Starts with your mind. And so, thank you so much for being here and sharing this information.
You are so welcome. This is what I enjoy doing because of course, like I said, I came from the teaching background. And so I had to understand, you have the public school education, which, everyone kind of gets access to, right? Then you have private school, which the parents pay, right, for a different level of education, smaller classroom sizes, so on and so forth. But when I really started to tap into, wow, wealth education means that there are some children, right, who are exposed to financial advisors being in their home, meaning they've seen mom and dad really sit down, right, and have conversations about investments, have conversations about higher rate of returns. Like they've been exposed to this super early. So if you really start to think about it, if I'm teaching my child from the age of literally like 1, 2, 3, 4 on up, like, hey, these are financial concepts. These are vehicles that you can put your money in and your money will start to double faster. When you're making those types of deposits into your child, they at that point are exposed to a wealth education.
Right.
Because realistically, they're not going to go and look for that bank account like traditionally us. We're like, oh, we got to find us a bank, They're not going to look for that. Their parents probably already have a couple, investments on them as well. But on the flip side, now this child is also educated that, wow, I know it's vehicles that I can not only get a higher rate of return, now I can utilize it to be my own bank. Now I can, at 19, right, have enough where I can purchase that condo and now Airbnb it. I might not have to go and work at Buffalo Wild Wings because I've been exposed to
Lord, this girl is preaching. Oh my God. Hallelujah.
love it. No, I've been exposed. That's the mindset. They've been exposed to different. They've been exposed to working smarter and not harder.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. And I really truly believe that God is working to connect me with the people that I need to connect to, because my husband and I, we have a 2-year-old, and we have been having conversations from the time we realized that I was pregnant. Like, how can we make sure that our son Josiah, is financially secure in a way where he does not have to go to high school and work a full-time job, go to college and work a full-time job. Like, it's just, we want to make sure that he doesn't have to get it out the mud. And a lot of times with us, we pass things down generationally. They're curses, and we don't even realize it because we're so accustomed to it. And I just want to be a generational curse breaker, like everything. And I had an excellent childhood. But what I'm saying is that I don't want Josiah to have to feel like there's any limits on him at all. The sky, not even the sky, the stars, the moon, that's the limit. However, how high you want to jump, that's as far your mind can take you. That's how high I'm going to push you and propel you towards that. But I can't do that if I don't have the information, you know? So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to connect with you, girl. Yes, got your email, got your phone number. I'm about to know where you work at.
I am here. I am here.
Yes.
This is what it's about.
Is so good. This is
I
so
am
good.
here. Again, like I said, thank you definitely for having me, and just having the mindset to understand that, we're starting off March, which is Women's History Month. And honestly, Stacey, my mission this month is to really help so many women understand that this is the time, right? And when I say this is the time, follow me, right? Because we have to remember that history does repeat itself. Mm-hmm. So if we go back in history, we can go back to the Spanish flu. Okay. At a time where a lot of people were passing, even the tax, the taxes was higher. Guess what? We're kind of experiencing it now. We're experiencing inflation. We're experiencing a lot of what they experienced in the Spanish flu. During that time, though, even though it was, of course, detrimental to a lot of people, we birthed a Madam C.J. Walker. So this is what we have to understand. She, during a time, right, that looked completely opposite of prosperity and abundance, she had a mindset of, I'm going to literally build my empire. Regardless of, what is the circumstances right now, I'm going to build my empire. And that is my mission. My mission is to really stretch a lot of women's vision this month and this year on what it is that they could do to potentially start to really build wealth on another level. Because although I know a lot of times we're looking at numbers like, man, the market isn't so great right now. Corona has came through. People have lost a lot out of their retirements. Even during this time, more millionaires are being birthed. Mm-hmm. Even during this time, right? I think it was like Country Wayne or something. I don't watch him, but it kind of threw me off guard because one of my friends was kind of scrolling through the video and he talked about, I think he made like 8 million online or something. So it just comes to show you that we're in a place where more millionaires can be birthed. Yes.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
But I wanted to just say, however, if we're not literally opening our mind, like you were saying, really having that mindset of, wow, even though these times could be detrimental, what are my opportunities, right? Because I know even if things aren't the best, there's still an opportunity for better. And so that's where I'm at with trying to stretch vision. But I can only do that to the people that are open-minded like you.
Right. Absolutely. Listen, I want every single blessing God has for me. Yes. When I meet him, I ain't trying to meet him no time soon, but I'm just saying, when I do, I don't want him to have not one thing he didn't give to me because I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to be prepared. I want to be open to every single thing that he has for me. And so with doing that, I have to be willing to be a student. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good at a lot of things, but I will tell you this, money is not one of those things. And so, why
Wow.
do you think women, or do you feel like women struggle with financial literacy more than men?
Wow, that is really good. If I could be honest, I would say that it may not necessarily be a struggle. I think, of course, your childhood rearing years determines a lot of how you look at money, even paying bills. You might have been brought up in a household where you saw mom go to the mailbox and she never opened the bills. You might have grew up in a household where it was opposite. Mom opened the bills and she had a wall budgeting. So people are exposed, right, to financial literacy, and we're exposed to things early that we don't even think really stick with us, but it kind of
Yes,
does.
that's why I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, we call my daddy the mailman because he's the one always at the mailbox getting the mail and sitting down at the table with the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom didn't do that. She took care of the house and the kids, and she was a teacher also. She was a elementary school teacher for 30 plus years. And
Wow.
so, but the dynamic, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay, girl, I was like, were you there? Were you in the house?
We really don't, Stacey. We don't pay attention to how much our childhood years really, really play into how we look at money, like how we view it, right? Whether we abuse it, whether we save it. It really, in our childhood years, that is a very important time. That's the reason why, honestly, I really believe financial literacy should be taught in the elementary schools, and financial concepts shared early, because really, I mean, that's the preparation for life. So that's how I feel. But to be quite honest with you, due to decades of women being in that position, like you said, your mom, homemaker, let's make sure the kids are great. I have that nurturing part. This is we, for years, for decades, were conditioned that, hey, as long as women are in the house, make sure the kids are fed, things are running well. Dad is that provider. He's the one that kind of pays the bills. But when you really think about what it should look like, it should be a conversation between mom and dad, right? But we know what it's like, right, to have that mom that spent, because that was my mom, and my dad was more of the savvier one. So I took the same thing, right, of being that spender, which my husband was more of the frugal one. And as crazy as it seems, because opposites definitely attract, right? As crazy as it seems, I had to really go on the quest of financial literacy and learning, on my own. Not saying that, he wasn't there to support me, but I had to really become educated. And I feel like as women, even if you're going through a divorce, because this is where I want to see like change really come in, because a lot of women that even go through divorces, they don't have a dime to really go and rebuild their life. They have to start like from the bottom again. Yeah. But imagine if someone had really talked to you about, hey, listen, even if you're not working, right, some of the income that comes in, start to put that to the side. Start to build your savings up. Start to even tell yourself no to certain things just in that season, right? To maybe get your savings up to 1,000, 5,000, because you just never know. And God forbid if that husband is not working or job loss, right? Maybe you guys will still have just a nest egg. It may not be the quote unquote amount that you may like, but having something beats having nothing.
That's very true.
And I think as women, we're becoming very very aware, right, that we should be more in tune to our finances and to what we have going on, right? It's becoming very trendy to actually care about stocks and how your money is. It is, and I'm glad that we are positioning ourselves this way. But for years, honestly, we've kind of just been the caretakers, the spenders, not really being as savvy as we could have. And in our community, if I can be honest with you, Stacey, we joke about those things. Like we have the biggest kikis over, oh girl, I spent all my money up, girl. And we joke about this stuff and we're laughing like, but I got these candles, I got this, and it's cute, but in retrospect, right? We're thinking about that at that point, but what about down the line? If your husband does come home and say, man, I don't know, they just let me go.
Right.
Now you're gonna like, oh Lord, I might need to take all of this stuff back, because then you're thinking about your financial situation. And so I just want to change people from being more reactive to proactive.
Yeah. I know my husband is downstairs watching this broadcast, and he's probably like, I wish she would have met her like 10, 15 years ago. Why? Because he had been trying so hard to get me to understand that money is a tool.
Yes.
And the conversation that we had one time, he said, "You are one of the smartest people I know, and I just cannot understand why you don't get it." But the thing of it was, I didn't want to, because
Yeah.
my upbringing was different from his.
Mhm.
Like, we had 99% of everything we wanted and 1,000% of everything we needed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my parents had conversations about money, but they didn't have them in front of us.
Right.
And so when you mentioned a while ago about having conversations with your children and making sure they understand money vehicles and this, that, and the third, and money concepts, what I wanted to ask was, have you ever thought about like, or do you have like resources for kids, like books or flashcards or something like that? So, because even if we are helping our kids with those things, we're learning them as well. Do
Yeah.
you have a resource like that?
Yes, I'm glad that you asked. Actually, Stacey, yes. So, one thing I have done in the past was actually have a Zoom. I think we had at least close to 60, 70 individuals join in with their kids.
Oh, wow.
And we called it the $1,000,000 Baby. And we were able to do like Kahoot, go over some
Oh,
financial.
yes. I like Kahoot.
Yes, it was so powerful. We had kids logged in all the way from Hawaii. We were able to mail books off, financial literacy books. And so we're thinking about just really doing that again this year, to be able to host a huge Zoom where we're able to go through those concepts and possibly have a set of parents really just talk about the financial concepts that they've been able to teach their kids. Because it wasn't, honestly, Stacey, until I was able to get around a different caliber of group of individuals that I started to realize it is some doctors that really send their kids to financial literacy summer camps. I had no idea those even existed. Yes, I had no idea they even existed. Of course, this was before COVID, but I mean, I'm assuming that they may still be around. But a lot of your Harvards and your, yes, prestigious, they have these caliber of financial literacy summer camps. And so I was exposed to that when one of my friends who was a doctor, and she was explaining, she's like, yeah, he went away to a camp. She's like, Ashley, I really feel like the Zoom that you all did was phenomenal, because I paid for my son to go and have that knowledge. You just presented it on Zoom for free. She's like, I will be an advocate. I will share my story about, how it really shaped my son growing up. So just know that that is access. I actually have my business partners, Jasmine Wilkins and Troy Wilkins. They launched a kid university, a financial kids university. So I can give you that information so you can enroll your son as well, because they meet up. They teach the kids financial concepts. I'm sure that it's going to be other things that they do to incorporate the parents as well. But I think it is a great start, right? Because it's a free resource. It's not, you don't have to pay for it. You just got to sign them up there.
Oh my gosh. The Bible says my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so we have a tendency to think of that just from the spiritual aspect, but that can be, related to so many things, especially finance, because you're sitting up here telling me something I ain't never heard of that before in my life. Oh my gosh. Girl, that is amazing.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in there. And then not only that, my nieces and nephews, they could really, and I wish I had stuff like this when I was younger. Like,
I know.
I would have been a millionaire by now, but that's okay.
And that is why we called that Zoom $1 million baby, because we, started to really understand that the individuals that really start to invest in their children at a young age, I mean, other ethnicities, they invest in their kids when their kids are 15 days old. They start tucking away money for them early so
We
that they
started
can have.
doing that, but
Oh, good job,
yeah,
Stacey.
we did that. I want to say he was maybe 6 months.
Good.
Yeah, we started, and I have direct deposit something coming out of my check every pay period for him. It's not big, but
Yeah.
it's something every pay period. But it's just sitting in the bank, so I don't know what else to do with it to grow it. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation so we can continue it offline because I need everything. Matter of fact, I just need to schedule an appointment because me and my
Yes.
husband will come. And yeah, we gonna
Yeah,
just schedule
and
it.
I have an office. So of course, yes, I'm in a business that allows me to be hybrid, right? So I am able to meet with individuals in state of Virginia, out of state of Virginia. I'm licensed in multiple states. So if you're in South Carolina, hey, holla at me. North Carolina, Georgia, I can start naming some because I'm able to service everyone, even through Zoom. You don't have to necessarily come in. But if you and your husband, local individuals, come on into my office. I'm located in Town Center in Virginia Beach, and we could really dive right into the goals that you guys have, because I tell everyone that I meet with, my goal is to really see your life go from good to great, right? I know we have kind of all been, I guess you could say, exposed to like commission hungry people that are just like, you should do this, and it's a lot of what you should do, right? But never really sitting down and just having a conversation about what is it that you can really offer me that can start, right, my finances to go from good to great. So like you were saying, like, hey, I've already started tucking away from my son. Now I know I just need more exposure on the vehicles, right?
Yes.
And I wouldn't even be able to know that if I was so busy. Oh, Stacey, you should do this. This is what, it comes off very distasteful.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I could tell you were so authentic.
Wow.
It was just so genuine, and like there were a room full of beautiful, amazing women, but for some reason you just kept pulling on me.
Wow.
And so really you're the only person that I've connected with outside of that T to this degree because I felt a genuine, authentic connection.
Thank you.
You just confirming it. You just confirming
Wow.
it. So.
Don't give me all the emotion. I can't let my lash fall off, right?
I know, right now.
Oh my gracious, that makes my heart smile, because I have grown to a place where I don't do it for myself. I think a lot of times when we first start in business, and it's okay, I might be the first to admit it, I'm okay. A lot of times when we first start in business, we're very selfish, right? We feel like, oh no, someone needs to pay us for our craft and pay us for our time. And, we it's so funny the things that we kind of just pour into ourselves, like, we've already made it or something. And God really had to humble me to a third degree and really show me that, Ashley, honestly, if you really have a heart for helping people, right, everything you want by default, you're going to get. You're going to attract. It's going to come around.
I truly believe that.
I
And
believe.
the story, yesterday I was talking to a videographer / photographer, and so I have a brunch, a women's wellness networking brunch and workshop coming up, and we'll talk more about that. Yes. It's actually going to be in the same venue space that you and I met. Yes. Yes. And I've been planning this since last year, but I was talking to him, and I mentioned that he could advertise in my program, and he was like, okay, how much does that cost? And I was like,
wow.
I was like, just give me your information.
Wow.
I really feel like you don't have to charge people for every single thing. And I know that might not be the best business model as a businesswoman, but more than a businesswoman, I'm a woman of God. And I just feel like there's a certain level of integrity that I must have. And I just don't want to just be nickel and diming people for every single thing. And that's not to say that I expect people to do that to me or give me discounts or things like that. Whatever your price is your price. But I'm just saying for me, I just don't feel comfortable charging people for every single little thing.
No, and what I can tell you is that what we see as big, God sees is like this small.
Yeah.
So sometimes we think, oh wow, if I give up this seed, I'm giving up so much. And God is like, no, if you really give up the seed, I'll give you the forest. Do you really want this seed or do you want the forest? Right?
Yeah.
Because giving is always going to get you in rooms and in positions that normally you wouldn't qualify for. But Absolutely. Because of you having that giving heart, right? And God knows our hearts, He's going to set way and provision for you to be in it. And when I tell you, even the tea, for me, to be honest with you, Stacey, that tea of me being a panelist speaker, if I really can be real with you, I put that on my vision board like 4 years ago.
Look at God.
and it's crazy, but I put on my vision board, I said, I am a highly sought after speaker. I had not spoke anywhere, like legit. No one had asked me, it was nothing along those lines. But, and if I think about it now, I'm like, what made me put that? I'm like, at that time, I didn't even take public speaking. Like, what would make me put that I'm a highly sought after speaker over 4 years ago on my vision board? But to be in a place now, speaking at that T, what most people would have seen, well, Ashley, if you're going to do that, you have a level of expertise, I would charge, or I would tell her, but it's not about that, because I know that my message could help so many people. And if I just have the heart of, hey, allow my message to help someone, and that's it, I know honestly it's going to come back. And so even as a result of me just sharing my story at the T, being transparent, right? Now, every time I look up, somebody's like, hey, I want you to go. I'm like,
yes, wow. See? So that was the first time you had done that.
Absolutely.
Girl, I can't tell. You was like a veteran. You were so comfortable and in your element.
Wow.
Oh, it was amazing. It was
Thank
amazing.
you. I appreciate it. But honestly, I built, just that great relationship with Latrice. She's just a great individual. And so, that's where I feel like people will mess up those partnerships. When you kind of come in and you too know it all, or you're too, oh, this is what I do. I won't move. You don't realize that you're really repelling business.
Like, here's my media kit. This is how much I charge. And not every time is the opportunity for that. And so I'm glad that you said that. But that's not to say don't be wise and charge people when necessary. But sometimes you just have to. That's what networking is all about. And we don't understand that concept of networking when you just trying to charge for everything. And like I mentioned with the videographer, he was like, well, what do you need from me? I was like, just share my post. When I get a flyer, just share it. Like, have your wife, if she wants to come and be an entrepreneur spotlight. I'm allowing people to come in and have space to talk about their goods, their services, their business to the room of women who are going to be there. Like, I'm not charging for that. You just come and just talk about your business. That's what the whole networking piece is about. If I don't know what you do, I can't recommend somebody to you. And that's all that Black dollar stand within our community.
Wow. So, Stacey, you said a mouthful there, because the people don't know what you do. And that is one of the very key concepts. I actually recently invested in taking a marketing class from a marketing guru. Like, I've seen celebrities hire him to help. And so I really invested into that course. And in the course, he really talked about his story. And he talked about, it was point in times where I was giving advice on, how to, to celebrities on how to make these reels and things. And I was not getting compensated. But I knew that if I really allowed myself to just be in the room to offer these services, more doors would open up. And this is where I want to free a lot of entrepreneurs, because even Mary J. Blige performed at the Super Bowl with no money, but she understands now my price didn't really went up. I performed at the Super Bowl. So the next person that try to book me, right, you're going to have a lot of money, right, when you really want to book me, because now I have the access to say, hey, I perform in front of millions, right? In front of the greats at the Super Bowl. So I know I may not have been paid in that instant, but I know a lot of people was reached.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my price just went up. And so you can kind of demand those things when you're putting out. But just to expect everything, freely sometimes, especially in the beginning when you're trying to get your name out there, I
Yeah.
would just say be cautious, right? No, you don't have to give it away, but understand that if you are stuck on just that seed, you're going to miss your forest.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And so if you could, I hear feedback. I'm not sure why, but let me see. If you could give one piece of advice that could potentially change someone's life, what would that advice be?
Okay. Ooh, one piece of advice. Wow. I would have to say one piece of advice. Oh man, you are your success story. If I could say that, you are your success story. And when I say that, I mean, regardless of what may not have happened or what may not have taken place, or you're not born into a wealthy family, you are still a success story. Um, a lot of times it is very hard to see past a circumstance or past a situation. But if you just start to open up your mouth, like understand your mouth is a powerful tool. If I could just get people to hone in on the power of their tongue, you could really see your life change. Like I said, just know that you are your success story. When I wrote what I wrote on my vision board years ago, I didn't see a plan. I didn't see the full staircase. I just wrote what I felt. I wanted, my desires. And to see this happening now, not a year later, not 2 years later, but I kept going. So now I'm starting to see it. And sometimes life will test you just to see how bad you want. Are you willing to continue to go? Because at some point, right, it's gonna be released. The law of attraction, it's gonna happen. But do you really want to be a success story? Because you have it in you, right? We have it. We're equipped. I don't care what you feel like you don't have. You will be surprised if you just open your mouth and say, God, surround me with a circle of people, or get me in those rooms. When you start to speak, it is so much power that you're able to really speak into existence. And so I would just say, use your tongue. Don't belittle your words, right?
Yeah.
Don't listen to the evil thoughts in your head that's telling you no, if you can just speak it, even before you believe it.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we feel like, oh, I got to believe it in my heart. No. Just start speaking it.
Yes.
So if I could just leave any piece of advice, speak what you want to see.
Girl, when my mama see this, she gonna be like, I've been telling you that the whole time. I'm like, yes, Mom, this is Bible. This is Bible. The power of life and death lies within your tongue, and those who love it will eat of its fruit. What does it mean? If you speak life, you're gonna eat that. You're gonna have so much prosperity, you're not even gonna know what to do with it. But if you speak negativity and death and just obstacles and challenges and naysaying this and naysaying that, that's what you're always gonna live.
Yeah.
So what do you want? Do you want to be a success story?
Yeah.
I love that. That is awesome. Awesome. And so I'm gonna try and transition just a little bit back to life insurance, because in your introduction you talked about losing your father, and at the T you mentioned not having your mom not having life insurance or your dad not having life insurance. And so what do you feel like is the biggest misconception about life insurance when it comes to people of color, when it comes to Black people? What are we missing? Why are we not understanding the importance of life insurance?
Yes, and that is a great question, Stacey. To be honest with you, the biggest misconception is that we really think it is a bill. We're not groomed to understand that it is really an investment, a self-investment. Instead, we have been groomed to think it is a bill. And if I think I mentioned this at the tea. You know, if you had a chance to maybe stay with grandma, you know, or some of your older aunties back in the day, right? You saw that insurance guy just coming through,
Yes.
knocking on the door, right?
And I do remember that, man. I remember because I grew up next door to my grandma, and I remember him. I
Wow.
remember.
Coming through, right? And grandma would get like $5,000 policies on everybody, right? Because at that time, you know, she just wanted to make sure everyone was covered, you know. And shout out to the grandmas that make sure their grandbabies are covered, right? You guys are a true gem, okay? So they, you know, at that time, that's all that they were taught, you know, kind of what was in front of them. And so we have to understand now that just like the iPhone, just like the droids, life has evolved, things have evolved, life insurance has evolved. And so when it started to get to a point where, you know, you could actually accumulate cash value, that means, hey, it's not the same life insurance like grandma used to get back then, right? You have other aspects that now you're able to have as a tool, a part of life insurance, you know, that you can utilize, whether that is, God forbid, you get too sick and you can't physically get up and go to work. Mm-hmm. See, these are the true conversations I have to have with people, because when I talk about life insurance, I talk about it from an aspect of you have to have this as a tool in your toolbox, because we have to be real. We have seen people have fish fries, GoFundMe's.
Yes.
And some of that stuff is not even for death. Some of it is for sickness, because the capacity of those medical bills is draining. Mm-hmm. So everything you worked hard for, all those mornings you got up at the crack of dawn, you clocked in, you know, you got in your place to, you know, purchase a home, and you've made strides in life, but because of a sickness, you literally go to repossession, evictions, and that things like that start to happen, not realizing, man, it is life insurance that could really, you know, be able to hold me through this time of sickness, where they would advance me, you know, a portion of profits and money to be able to still maintain what I have, right, until I'm able to get better. So imagine, you know, not having to literally lose it all. I was that kid that unfortunately had to lose it all, you know, because my mom didn't open the door when he came knocking, right? Because she felt like, well, this is more of a bill, you know, I really can't afford this right now. You know, I have kids, I have a house. And then to her, it just didn't make sense to add to her plate. Mm-hmm. But in the other, a lot of other communities, in the way that others have been educated on, it's, hey, realistically, I am my biggest priority. So if I don't cover myself, I really won't be able to leave a legacy that I desire to leave. I'll leave more of a liability, right? I will stress my family out. Those are some of the things, and my kids may even have to see their lives dramatically change as a result of a decision that I decided not to make, when really you are your biggest investment. I think that's the missing part in our community sometimes, is because we will get insurance on that iPhone because it's like, oh, I paid so much money for this phone. But what is your life cost? You know, what is your life cost? You know, when you are leaving this world, do you really want your grandkids to throw spitballs at your picture because you were the reason why their mom had to go drain her account, you know, go get loans, and she's stressed out because she had to figure out how to bury, you know, grandma, auntie, sister? Or are you literally going to be like, wow, you know, because of you wanted to leave a love letter instead of a liability letter, man, we've been able to, you know, open up a foundation on behalf. Because we have to understand, you have relatives in your family that do a lot for a lot of people, right? And if they leave this world, the best way to honor them is to be able to start a corporation or some type of fund in their name, right? Which allows you to be able to give back. So having life insurance, right, and having enough protection, not just enough to bury you, because we got to stop that in our community too, because we don't realize that we're messing up the generational gap. The reason why a lot of, when I think I said this earlier, Walton family, Hilton, when you start to hear these things in mind, you have to understand they have millions upon millions in life insurance. They understand that there's no other financial vehicle. If we could be honest, that's going to allow them to transfer millions to the next generation. Because let me tell you, to some of the ones that might be listening and saying, oh, I got this in the bank and I got this in the trust. And let me tell you, all the paperwork better be 100% right. Right? Because we know celebrities who thought that they had things in place and they had nothing really in place and their families got nothing. So when we use life insurance, we have to understand that beneficiary is definitely going to receive the benefits of the love letter you put in place. So whether that is 1 million, guess what? You probably just changed the whole trajectory of your family because no one ever left you $1 million. So imagine what you could do with that $1 million. Imagine your family name being the name on the side of the building or on that sportsplex. If we're not starting to think about what we could really do with life insurance, we're missing this wealth gap because we're supposed to own commercial properties. We're supposed to own things outright in our community. If we can really be honest, we're supposed to own these things.
Yes.
But a lot of times we don't because there's no revenue, there's no money being left, right? And as a result, everybody has to get it out the mud. Stacey, we got to stop this.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for being here and dropping your wisdom, because if we can just change one person's mind,
yes,
like it is time for us to stop depending on certain systems to keep us afloat. Yes. And to understand the power in ownership, to understand the power of a legacy, to understand the power in life insurance, to understand the power of financial literacy. Like you said, certain things we do, we laugh and joke about it like it's cute. It's cute. But in the end, do you want your kids to have to start a GoFundMe to bury you? You don't even have enough money for a wooden casket.
And I think a recent celebrity, did y'all come off of Friday or something? I think something happened with him. And I think it really kind of shocked a lot of people because, again, we think, oh, well, he had the money. And just because you have the money doesn't mean that you're going to take the time out to really legacy plan. See, a lot of times we have to understand that if you haven't been exposed to really sitting down and listen, hey, let's just get this together now, then 9 times out of 10, even when you get the money, it's not even going to be something you think about. And you're going to continue to go and move on. And guess what? Life is going to happen. And when that expiration date happens and all your money is sitting in the bank, just make sure you have all of your paperwork because they will freeze the account, which means no one will be able to pay for anything, and all of your hard-earned money will go to the state, So we have got to understand that we have what it takes in our community, honestly, to really start to build generational wealth. But we just got to change our mindsets and stop thinking, oh, because no one left it to me, or, because we got to stop. We wearing this stuff when really we could be investing. We could really have so much liquid money, right? Where I could say, you know what?
Let me say that again. We doing what? We wearing it?
We wearing it. We wearing it.
See, but you and me, we know that you can look good and not spend a lot of money on nothing. This
shirt,
I think the shirt was $8.
Earrings, too.
$5. Like, you do not have to spend a lot of money. This ponytail, $10.
Hello. Look. I think this necklace was like 99 cents from the thrift store.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to spend a lot of money to look good. Come on, you're so worried about what you look like on the outside. But let's think about what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your spirit, how are you internally, and then what's going on behind the scenes in your finances.
Absolutely, because as an adult, I feel like your bank account is your report card. See, people don't want to talk about this, but I'm serious. I feel like your bank account should be your report card. If you want to really start to see, oh, okay, how am I doing financially in life? Look at your bank account.
Love that you said that, because I'm the type of person that's like real big on grades. And so I was like, ooh, I think
what would you give yourself, right?
C- right now in my personal account. See, we do yours, mine, and ours in our marriage. Good. So the ours is A+.
Good.
And
it's okay. It's okay. It's about being honest. Because when I first started out, I think I was on F. I'm sure I had failed the course. Listen, I know I failed. Because if I had 10 cents, I spent 9 cents out the 10. So I know I failed. You don't even have to tell me. I will own it, right? So that's what I say at this age, right? I'm sorry. I love designer pieces. I just don't like to pay full price. If I can get it at consignment or something along those lines, or if someone wants to gift it, I'm like, okay, cool. I just
there you go. Don't look at the
I'm like, thank you, but I just say this in retrospect, because we have to even look at, right, some of the people that we know are wealthy. If I really can be honest, Jay-Z has even changed his whole entire ambiance, right? He used to be that, quote unquote, look like money, chains on. As you see him walk in and he's talking to Warren Buffett, he might have a t-shirt on, some nice little khaki. He understood, man, wealth really is silent. It really does not do a lot, right? But I'm sitting in here with people that literally have multi-millions, and corporations and land and so many different things. And they could probably just be in a Target t-shirt. So
we want to wear our money, but the other people, they don't do that.
They don't. And if it's anything, Stacey, I can honestly say that used to be me. See, I told you I'm just transparent. Like,
me too.
You know what I mean? I was a people pleaser. I felt like, wow, because I'm making a little more, I can get this MK bag. I can do it. You start thinking, because when you make more, you spend more. So in your head, you're like, I done really kind of came up, right? But when you really look at it in retrospect, I'm like, wow, my bank account is not reflecting. My report card is not reflecting. I don't have 3 to 6 months worth of just rent sitting in my account, because if life happens, I don't mean no harm, but that brunch is not going to keep my lights on.
Right.
This Michael Kors bag is not going to keep me warm. So I had to really, I guess you could say, detox my mind, so that I could.
I like
that. Yeah, detox. I really did, so that I could see the benefits of saving money. Because like I tell people, I use the analogy of the gym. If we can be real, we will all love to sit on the table, get quick work, kind of get out of there, right?
I wish I could. I wish I could, girl.
But unfortunately, I mean, some can. Hey, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking, right? Yeah. But for some individuals that feel like, man, I just don't want to go under the knife, but I want to be able to tone things up, right? It means you have to put that work in. So of course you're not going to be excited about going to the gym like, whoa, I'm just going to the gym today. You're like, okay, this is day one. But over time though, when you look, you're like, oh, okay, I'm getting a little snatch. I'm seeing the results. Yeah. You fall in love with the results. And by default, that's the fuel as to why you continue to go to the gym. We have to understand that when it comes to money, it's not going to feel comfortable saving money. Talking to someone like myself, it's not going to be comfortable. I did not like having to drive past Starbucks. I used to stop there every morning. Every morning. So it was not okay for a while. I had an attitude. Like, I'm being real. Like, I'm really saving, but this is stupid. I'm being real. I'm being real. I was like, this is really stupid. Like, I'm so upset. Like, who even does? I really had to detox my mind. It took a lot, and I'm real about my story, but I'm so grateful because now, it's been moments where I've had to help my family and I got it. I'm like, cool, I'll cash out. Because sometimes I know that you shouldn't have to go past me to get what you need. Someone has to be that one in their family that's going to say, I'm going to be that one. I'm going to be that flag carrier. I'm going to be that first millionaire. I'm going to be the one in my family that changes the relationship with money. That's going to show my other peers and other family members, you can have a healthy relationship with money, right? Regardless of what we've been taught, listen, I'm going to be that example.
Yes.
And I think that will definitely help us in our community if we start to really understand that money is a tool. Like your husband said, it could help me help a family member. It could help me save a life. Money it is a tool, and we've got to utilize it as a tool. And if we have those individuals in our family that we know have done beside us, that grandma that might have helped send me to college, why not honor her by starting, a foundation where off of the life insurance that she left behind, now you take $10,000 and you sow it into someone. See, this is how we're literally going to change our communities, but we have to change our mindset first, especially about life insurance, because it is a tool that you can use not only through death, but while you're alive.
Wow. I honestly didn't even know that. I thought it was just, when the person passed, it was used. I didn't even know. So girl, when I tell you, you are a wealth of knowledge, like,
Thank
let me tell
you.
you, this is excellent. And I will say this in front of everybody, whoever is watching, I definitely want to do something with you. And I have it in mind already.
Okay.
Towards the end of the year. Yes. So
Awesome. Let's
people,
do it.
going into the new year, this fourth quarter, going into the new year, we can start really, putting pen to paper and plans and strategies, for women,
Yeah.
us. It can be open to men too, if you want to. But I'm just saying, we really need to start taking ownership and being
Yes.
responsible for our finances. So yes, I definitely want to plan something with you.
Well, I
Um,
look forward to that. Let's
yeah,
definitely do it. Let's do
yes,
it.
yes. And girl, it can just be called fashion and finances. Come cute and we gonna talk
Hey,
money. Come cute
oh,
and we
I
gonna talk
like
money.
that. Come through and let's talk money. Oh, I like
Yes.
that. Oh, Stacey, we're definitely gonna make that happen.
Okay, good.
I
Good.
like
I'm
this. This is
excited.
why you got a network, right? Because
Yes.
just that in itself, I'm like, wow, okay,
Yes.
I'm here for it. Let's
I'm
go.
so happy. I'm so happy. I mean, it's so necessary. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not good at, like, I remember one time me and my husband were talking. I was like, "Oh my God, are we poor?" And he was like, "I've been trying to tell you that for the longest time." I'm like, "What? I'm not good at being poor." So
Yeah.
I, this
Wow, Stacey,
is
you
not for
sound
me.
just like me.
I'm not good at it.
You sound
So
literally
yeah,
just
that's
like
why I was
me.
laughing so hard when you said you had to drive past Starbucks. Girl, I used to do it, and then I had to start going to Wawa and getting that
Yeah.
dollar coffee, and now I
Uh-huh.
just buy the coffee and just make it here. But I
Yeah.
had to really like, I was like, ugh,
Yeah. It's
I can't afford,
uncomfortable.
I
It's
can't afford
uncomfortable. I know. And I
Starbucks. Ugh.
hate that because it was for me, I did have to get past that point because I'm like, I really don't like the fact that I can't spend my money. Like, what
Yeah,
do you, even though honestly, in retrospect, if I really look at it, it's like, actually, you really don't have it to just spend. But in our heads, we feel like, well, no, I've made a little more. Yes,
yeah,
I do have it. It's like these things that we just kind of tell ourselves, right? To make it feel great about the purchases that we know we shouldn't be making.
yeah.
So
And
that
I
is
ain't even gonna
how.
lie, like I worked at Nordstrom for a while, and that I
Mm,
shouldn't have done that because I thought I was rich. I was like working
yeah.
commission, and I was like one of the highest sellers in my department.
Wow.
And at that time, I thought I was making some money. Girl, I wasn't
Mhm.
making no money. Looking back at it, I was not making no money, but I was buying clothes in Nordstrom as
Mhm.
if I really could afford it. And I'm
Yeah.
looking in my closet, I'm like, why do I got this DVF top that I paid almost full price for? This is dumb. Why would I ever do that? I
Yeah.
would never do
Yeah.
that again. Like,
Yeah. You live and you learn. I tell you, man. Woo. You live because you start to think about, wow, because and this is how I break it down when I'm meeting with my clients, because a lot of times you'll be surprised. People think that they have not touched a million in their lifetime, and they have.
yeah, I believe
Problem
that.
is they just haven't saved a million. They've touched
Yeah,
it though. Because if
yeah,
you really start to add up what your job is giving you, and we really calculate these numbers, a lot of times we just have not saved half of even what we've spent. A
yeah,
lot of times we won't even save 10% of our income. And that's really just the standard, right? The standard is to really save about 10%, right, of what you're making. So just in retrospect of everything, we have to just understand that if we don't save money, money won't save us.
mm-hmm.
As millennials, we do not have pension plans. Bye
Right.
bye to a lot of these social security. By the time we are of age, it is going to be imperative that we understand that, man, I will not be able to retire unless it's on me.
Yeah, yeah,
So if me can't save money or start to diversify my portfolio or start to really understand this, then unfortunately you're going to have to literally work up until retirement and then find another job to carry you through the rest of the part of your life.
I'm not going to do that. That's why I already have decided. I'm like, I'm going to have to retire myself. I'm going to have to take care of myself.
Yes.
And just starting to make direct deposits, just going from, from my checking into my savings and me not touching it. As if, I'm seeing it like, okay, it's there, but it's not there. So I automatically just transfer money the day that I get paid. It's already set up that it's just, I don't even have it. I look at it.
Out of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. That is and to anyone that is listening, if you feel like, well, that sounds good. Stacey's disciplined, right? She know how to just see the money and transfer it, or not touch it. But guess what? It is an app called Digit, Digit. It's an app called Digit. Just to kind of throw in, right, some things that is really helpful, some tangible things, right? It's an app called Digit. And Digit will allow you to set up a savings through using that app, right? Where it's really equipped to help the one that has an issue with savings. Because if you set up Digit, whether you want to take 5 cents a day out of your account, $1 every 2 weeks, you set it up whatever way is accommodating to your finances. And what the app does is it saves for you automatically. You do have to link it to an account, right? An active account. But if you set up, 5 every 2 weeks, it's going to do its job, right? It's going to, out of sight, out of mind. As soon as that deposit hit, it's going to do it. And what's going to happen is you're going to even forget that you have money going out like that.
Yes. Because I'll tell you, I had not always been that disciplined. I was banking with Navy Federal, and I called and I was like, I can see what's in my savings when I check the app. Is there a way that I can remove this off the app? Because I don't even want to see it.
Yeah.
And the man was like, ma'am, it's not, but you just need to remember it's savings. You're supposed to save it. Okay. I mean, you're right, but you got to talk to me like I'm slow.
I like that. Wow.
But I had asked because I was like, if I see it, then it's like, oh, I can touch it. I can move it. I can do this. I can pay myself back. No, just leave it. It took a long time for me to get to this place to be able to do that. And I only touch my savings if it's an emergency.
Right.
And
correct.
If it's an emergency, thank God I really haven't had any true emergencies. So I'm thankful.
That's a blessing in itself. I'm telling you, I have to show people, right, that I was that person that spent. And so the Digit app helped me. Now I am at a place now where I don't have to use it. But initially, right, my first 2 to 3 years, I did. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I'm in going on number 4 in the financial industry. And now I have just gained that different level of muscle, of discipline. Now, even in the store, I'm like, if I'm still thinking about it in 24 hours, I'll come back. 9 times out of 10, I don't even come back. And that's what has kept me just within my spending, budget. It's really helped me become disciplined. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know someone might be listening in like, that sounds great, but I just don't have the discipline muscle. Hey, use that app because Digit, honestly, it makes
it doesn't have to be a lot, right? It can be $5 or, and
whatever you want to settle.
You can change it. Right. Okay.
Whatever you want to settle.
I'm still going to do it because I want to be surprised when I log into it and be like, oh, I just said yeah,
it's a great feeling. I will not lie to you. Someone else that I know who told me about the app as well. She had just been saving into it, and so when it was time for her to go on her trip out of the country, some things had happened, right? And she's like, "Dang, I gotta fork up some more money," But she was like, "Ashley, it hit me that I had been saving in Digit." So when I opened it, I was like, wow, okay, not only do, I can go ahead and get rid of this, kind of get out my hair, I still have my spending money for my vacation. And so whatever you want to utilize it for, utilize it. But it makes it so that you don't have an excuse, right? It's no excuse, right? Now, even if you don't want to save, now you got an app there to save for you. So why aren't people saving?
That's a good question. I like that. Okay, Digit. I'm definitely gonna do that. So look, we have been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, and it does not feel
Wow.
like it. And I'm not even through my questions. So I got a couple more questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
So I'm really big on self-care. And when I talk about total wellness, that's one of the pieces that I really want us to understand, that especially as working moms and wives, you have to carve out some time to do something for yourself. So what do you do for self-care?
Ooh, self-care for me. One, I definitely make sure that I am on my therapist's calendar. Because I think a lot of times,
Pause.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. When I tell girl, yes, yes. That's all I can say is yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. I called to try to make an appointment for myself last week.
Mhm.
She wasn't able to meet with me, and so I got a call back Monday because they told
Yes.
me they were going to call me and they didn't. So I got a call back Monday, and there is no shame
None.
in going to a therapist. It's necessary.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh! Thank you so much for saying that.
You're welcome. I mean, I just, I'm gonna be real. I mean, that's what self care is, because we, as women, we wear so many hats, and I think we have a misconception of self care only being spas or vacations, or kind of treating ourselves, and that is a form of self care. I don't ever want to take away from how you like to wind down. But
Mhm.
if I could be real transparent, though, even in those times where, maybe I'm just enjoying that drink, or, I'm just doing these things, even if I get back in my car and I'm going back home, does that really touch what's going on? Am I really waking up feeling better, like I can really handle life, and I can really. So to me, self care is making sure my mental is okay, so that I can really do the activities, and be the person I need to be to myself. See, sometimes we think that, oh, you going to therapy is to become better, to the ones around you. Yes, as a result of that self-development, that self-care, you taking the time to identify maybe your triggers, or certain things, it will by default spill into other relationships. People will know that you're different, that you maybe handle your anger different, or you're not shutting down anymore. People will see those things, but we have to understand that self-care is being able to release, not keep in, right? Self-care is release. Let me release, that work week, or, that
Yeah.
toxic work environment. Let me release, so that I can really be my best self. And so to me, that is what self-care is. Releasing in a space, right, that gives me the atmosphere to be myself, to be authentic, and allow me to, I guess you can kind of say, rejuvenate, so
Yes,
that I can really go out into the world, and continue to do my task.
absolutely. And I love that you have said that. What was it that you just said about therapy? And it made me think that I am now in the space, since I've been going to therapy. I am really becoming my best self finally. At 37 years old, I really have started to see a change maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Wow, that's
That
love.
I'm so open to new experiences, new
Mhm.
people, so positive and optimistic, like, and I can tell when something is wrong now, and I'm like, I don't like this feeling. Let
Yeah.
me figure out what's going on. Like
Yes.
something is not right. And I had that yesterday. I was like, ugh, I just feel like yucky today.
Yeah.
I just felt so heavy and so down, if I
Yeah.
can be honest. And but I can say that overall, since I've been going to therapy and talking to a non-biased person,
Yeah.
um, she has really helped me to become my best self,
Yeah.
to take off the limitations that I had on myself, to take off the labels that people had cursed me with,
Yeah.
and just start to be better. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you have mentioned that, because we have people online now commenting like, yes, this information is so great, it's a wealth of information. And I know My aunt was saying, never heard it put like that. Oh my goodness, great knowledge. She was
Wow.
talking about some of the life insurance information that we were talking about, but even just Miss Mika. Hey Mika, I'm glad you're watching. I know she's an advocate of mental health, and
Yeah.
just us being able to say, you know what, I'm not doing so great right now.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
and being okay with it.
yeah, I'm going through something, and then not having people say, "Oh, girl, you're gonna be all right." Oh, girl, you just need to go out, or oh, girl, you need to go to the club. You just need to drink, or you just need to go shopping. Or it's deeper than that, and when we can get to the root of
Mm-hmm.
that thing,
Yes.
we can snatch the power out of it.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm
It
so
is I want to say March. Yeah, it's March. So this is actually, I think, Mental Health Awareness Month, in the month of March. And the only reason why I know this is because last year I did host an event for female entrepreneurs, but it was called Boss Up, releasing the bondage so you can really perform.
man.
Um, and it was for mental health. So I actually was able to get some of the top mental health therapists and professionals to really come into a room and have those conversations with the women in there that were business owners, because we feel like for some reason, oh, we can really just be superwoman and handle the world just because I'm a female boss. Just because you're a female boss doesn't mean you wear a cape, right?
Right.
You have to release. You need to understand that,
Absolutely.
right? And so I created that atmosphere. Last year we had a ball, right? The women enjoyed themselves. A lot of tears were shed, but it was so much greatness that happened. And I don't have the time to organize it this year, which that is in my heart. I'm like, I really don't have the time to organize it this year, and that kind of breaks my heart. But I would love, even if someone is listening, if I could just come in and have a conversation about mental health, because I share my story. I would not have been able to accept, some of the shameful ways and things, because I had to really go through therapy to understand that it's okay. It's not who I am now. It's not, I'm not even thinking the same way, right? It's not
Yes.
who I am now. It's okay. That was a part of me. I may have even been that toxic one to
Right.
someone. Okay,
Right.
but you're no longer there. You of course you live in every day to right your wrongs and to become better and to do better. And it's okay. You have to stay there because we are human becomings. And I learned this from Coach Stormy. She said, we're not human beings, we're human becomings. We have the power to transform our minds, our bodies, so don't stay stuck on who you were, or the bad decisions, or those labels, like you said, that just kind of was on you from people who threw them on you, right? You can become, and you can transform. And so when I tell you, I share my journey about how I was able to really go to the therapist, because for a minute, I'm gonna be honest with you, Stacey, she looked at me and I looked at her, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and I was like,
Oh
listen,
yeah, you did say that.
I tell my story because people think it is a joke, but I went into therapy with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm just kind of here, but I don't know if I really need you.
Yeah.
And of course, over time, she had to break it down because of me having that stigma. I was like, I don't even know if I want to be seen leaving out of here. Like, it was so much stigma because I was conditioned to think I had to be crazy to get help. And it's not.
I thought the same, like going into the building the first, I was like looking around like, oh my God, I hope nobody see me when
Tease me.
I go in here. Like you
Yeah.
just feel like you know so I'm so glad we are having this conversation, because I honestly feel like everybody needs therapy at
Oh,
some point in time in
absolutely.
their life. Like and if you don't think that you need it, you the main one. You probably the problem in you're the one that's causing all the problems. The one who's
Ding, ding,
talking about you
ding.
need therapy.
Yes. If you don't think you need it, yes, you're
Yes,
correct about that.
yes. So I thank you so much for all the information, the wisdom, the power, the encouragement, the knowledge that you have shared with us, Ashley. I mean, you are so beautiful inside and out. And I'm so glad that we connected. And whatever you do, let me know and I'm going to be there.
Listen, I love it. This is what I live for. I just believe that if we don't get to know, each other, whether that is within the community, whether that is taking the time to network. And I just want to shout Latrice out because, to be honest with you, it's not too many networking events that I've been to where I've actually seen people get up, right, and really network. I have been in rooms where you call it networking, but it's really click working, right? The click is in the room, and you might know one person out the click, you might speak to that person, the other ones might kind of still look at you like, I don't have time for that. So I'm very particular about where I go, because I want to meet people who are authentic, who don't mind sharing, about themselves, so that we can bring each other value. If I'm walking into a room and I have a chip and I think that I've already arrived, honestly, there's nothing that I can really give. Right. But if I can meet someone that's like, hey, I want to meet you, you want to meet me, let's see how we can, really bring value to each other. That is what I desire to be around. And so it was a pleasure meeting you, right? I look forward to everything that we're going to really partner and do. I believe in collaborations. I believe collaboration is...
I already have a venue in mind and everything. Like, I already got it. Yeah. We was meant to be. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So,
but thank you for this platform. I appreciate it, and just continue to do this, right? Because it is so many people that need to be able to log in, right, and hear from individuals like you. So I want you to know, like, don't stop. Continue to keep going.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so for everybody who is watching, if you're still on, don't forget to share this broadcast. Don't be stingy. Share a lot of information. So make sure you share this broadcast. And to those who aren't live, but you're going to watch it later, thank you so much for tuning in, and you take care, and don't forget to share the broadcast as well. Thank you so much, Ashley. I truly appreciate you. All right, y'all. Until next time, y'all take care.
Thank you.